Good morning YouTube, my name's Sean Connors and welcome back to the Outsiders channel. Today we're going to be talking about mental preparation and I'm resurrecting my mailbag program to do this. A number of people have asked me my thoughts around this particular subject and I thought I'd share with you some very simple tips that I use. It will be very individual for everybody and hope that the other members of this YouTube community of ours will contribute a video towards this to support those people who need some help about mental preparation. It is very individual. I'm sure everybody's got a video that they'd love to share. So for myself, what I tend to do is I look at it as a process. It's a before, during and after process for mental preparation. And I have to not lose sight for a moment of the fact that there is a physical side to this and a mental side. And it's a bit of a yin and yang thing. They are individual, but together they make a fantastic whole. Which sounds wrong on so many levels, but it's a fair point to say that yeah, together both things really do work. And the mental side, for me, has always been about putting myself, because you have to remember, DMing is like a performance art. Being a great DM, you know, I do believe there are steps to this, and I think becoming a great DM, part of it is understanding it's a performance art. You're putting yourself on the stage, really. You know, the best term I can use, it's creating a sense of theatre. And I've said this before, you know, it really has to feel larger than life and everything's got to come together. You are almost like this, your players will feed off your performance on that night and the energy levels you bring into it. So this is why it's so important, and I'll refer you back here to my video on invisible monkeys, which is all about leaving your problems at the door, which is also part of mental preparation, because you have to leave those problems at the door and help and assist your players to leave theirs. And by doing that, it's like a clean slate. So when you start your sessions, you have this fantastic energy that you're building up because you've left all your problems behind and you're able to invest your time into that session and just really enjoy it and let yourself go, because you are a performance artist. But one of the steps before you get to that, of course, is how do you begin the process of mental preparation. And my beginning process is fairly simple, because I don't actually mentally prepare till right on game day. I make sure that I've done no thought process around the mental side of the game, and I leave myself almost thinking, oh my god, I've only got a few hours to go, I've got to get myself ready for this, I've got to get up for this, I've got to feel good about this. And because I'm under that much pressure, for me this works, it brings out the very best in me. So by the time the game starts, I've got all the butterflies going, and we all do. And you know, if you have no butterflies running a session, you don't really care. You know, that's a truth. You know, I'm sorry if that offends somebody there, but I don't think if you can just go there and it's all yeah, whatever. You know, it's really like yeah, you run an okay session. I'm sure it'll be good, and I'm sure your audience might even think it's fantastic. But the truth is, if you take a step back for a second and realise that you're not really stepping up each time, you're not really selling yourself, and you're not really putting the effort that you could put in. It's become almost a routine job, and that's when things get boring and people fall out of love with the hobby as a GM. It's remembering that the mental side is critically important to the whole process, and that you need those butterflies, because I get them. You know, every time I go out there, I think, oh God, what if they don't like this? You know, and so I go out there with the belief every time, and I've said this before as well, that I run every session as if it's my last. It's like doing these videos, you know. I honestly say, you know, I've had thoughts, you know, like we all do. You know, I think I need to bring the channel to a close, you know, it'd be really important to do that. I don't want to get melodramatic over this here, but, you know, you do. You know, perhaps I've said all I could say and all those sort of things. But you realise when you take a step back that there's plenty to say, and at this moment in time, I think the channel is very relevant, and I like to think that there are still very useful things that need to come out of it. So, you know, all these things are part of the process, you know, becoming an excellent, brilliant, superb DM. So mental preparation definitely has its part. So, you know, you have to find what really gets you pumped up psychologically, mentally before the game, and then latch into that, and hopefully a few of these little tips will help. So we've shown here a little bit at the beginning, talked a little bit about just before the session, because we talked about invisible monkeys, and then during the session it's about being, you know, constantly having, it's not a mask, because you are who you are. I mean, you know, what you see on these videos from me That is me. My players will tell you that. You know, you're not getting anything that isn't me. I don't think I can put across in the videos the excitement levels, the depth of the games that we run, or any of that stuff. I think that's impossible because it's literally, as they say, you have to be there. And that's why I think that our hobby, sometimes is a bit vanilla. In that it's not a great hobby to watch, but it's a great hobby to play. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's an exceptional hobby to play. And again, as I've said before, it's the best book and the best film you've ever seen, all rolled into one when done well. And those thought processes have to be in your mental bank to help you make you run a better game. So we've reached the point here in the video where we've got the sort of beginning bits. We've done the intro piece leading up. We've done a bit of the beginning, but I must also mention about the preamble here. A lot of groups, like myself, have a bit of a preamble. And this is why it's so important to leave behind the problems, because in the preamble, you pretty much want to have a chat with the players, have a laugh, and all that sort of thing for 10-15 minutes, just before we kick the session off. But you don't want to drag it down yourself. It's all right for the players to talk about their problems. That's okay. It's good for you to know. I've had a really bad week, Sean. It's great to know, because at least then you can hopefully, for that night, just let them forget about their problems. So you've succeeded straight away, and they've escaped out of that world into yours, which is what you want. And you have a success in your hands, because that player goes away feeling excited, invigorated, and forgets all about the crap week that they've had. But for you, you can't come into a game and talk about your problems. It's a mask that you have to put on here, and you've got to be upbeat. You want to be talking positively, have a laugh with the players. Really important to set those standards, because those are the final parts before the game starts. The players will immediately latch onto. God, he's really up for it tonight. He's looking forward to it. I bet it's going to be really hard on us because he's really enjoying himself. Those sort of things do stick in the player's psychology, but it's good because they know that you're really up for the game. So you've got to the point now that you're running a session. You've got to stay focused. I think this is where people should get quite It's a mental tiredness that comes from DMing, constantly listening in on what the players are doing, adjusting your games. The game is never run ABC. Not from any experiencedly good DM, whether you're using pre-written material or not. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we could get into a huge debate over what works best, a more ad-lib approach or a pre-written. It doesn't matter. You know what I think? I think, personally speaking, it's whatever works for you. And, for my take on it, I like to adjust my games all the time, are adjusting to the players to a large degree, because they're my audience. That's what I'm on stage to deliver a performance, but at the same token, I've got to listen to them. And that means being really acutely listening, which is mental energy that you're using. You're really constantly aware of it's like a bubble. You've got to be aware of what's going on in that bubble all the time. Another part to this is you've got to remember as well that you have in front of you, and I'm not going to dwell on this because I'm going to run out of time very quickly, a GM screen. So the players are only going to see, I do anyway, and I love the screen because of what it does psychologically to the players, but they can only see this part of you. So it's really important that you get up a lot, stand up on the table, animate, move around, project yourself. That's exciting, and the players love to see it. Tap them on the back, or, what are you doing? And really get in there, in the face sometimes. But it really comes from the mental preparation, makes you remember this, makes you act in it, makes you do it. So there's the mental side to do it, to remember to do it, and there's the physical side actually doing it. But listening is a very, very acutely important mental activity, because you've got to always be listening in and adjusting your games to fit your players. And if you can take those steps, you can run highly successful games. And never be afraid to take the best answer the players have got, even if it's even sometimes if yours might be better, but the players wouldn't understand what you're trying to do. In a nice way, it's better to adjust to what they're comfortable with, because you will get a better reaction from them. Not every time, but generally any GM out there knows that that's right. So that leads me to the final piece to this video, which is obviously the coming down after it. Now, for me, GMing has always been, in the nicest way, it's a drug, really. I mean, that's why I enjoy it so much. It's my drug. It makes me feel, I come away on a mental high, and I have to come down off it. So I then, after the session, I go home, I think about the session, I eat a lot because I'm hungry, and I unwind, and then I go to sleep. And I've had a fantastic experience. But I believe, and I know, that the players also have a fantastic high because of all the activity that goes on several days after the session, which is great news. And that's how you know you've succeeded with not your physical but your mental preparation. Anyway, I've been Sean Connors. This has been Outsiders, all about mental preparation. Happy gaming. Until the next time, take care of yourselves, and bye-bye.